All right, welcome to Tokyo. Yes, that is the Tokyo Skytree in the distance, and we are on the Sumida River for an epic cheeseburger battle. Yes, they all have cheese, they're all burgers, they're all made here in Japan, and they're from the 3 biggest convenience stores that you can find. They all look pretty appetizing, I guess. Let's see who the contestants are today. Number 1, come right here. Number 1, we have 7-Eleven. Cheeseburger. It says here in katakana, cheeseburger, with the 7-Eleven mark there. You can see the cheese has melted a little bit on the top. They've all been microwaved for about 15 seconds in their super microwave. This is brand new. This comes from Lawsons. Now Lawson's, this is the only burger option they had. It said the microwave for 20 seconds and it popped after 18. This is the beef hamburg steak and cheese. So it does have a little bit of an extra, so we have to judge this based on the fact that they do have steak instead of a burger. And then this one is the Family Mart, which also says cheeseburger. And we're gonna take a look at the calories, and I'll discuss the price, and of course, the taste. All right, let's get right to it here. We have to pan up a little bit because the audio is sticky, a little bit shorter than normal. We're gonna go with the 7-Eleven because this is the first that I bought here. Audio check. It should be on. You guys okay? All right, let's try it here, the 7-Eleven. Let's do this. All right, the first thing that I noticed right away is it's got this very like, it's not a bad thing. It's a very, like a high school cafeteria looking bread. It's kind of, I don't know, wrinkled, which is not a bad thing. The obligatory open the inside and see the guts. You can't do that. All right, this is the beef of, or if it is beef. And then, oh, you got some ketchup in there. I think that's ketchup. And then the cheese. There's a little bit of steam coming out. Not much, because it's about 5 minutes ago I got this. The microwave causes the wrinkles, writes in Brian. Let's see if that affects the tastes. Itadakimasu. Bread's pretty good. Really good consistency to it. It's not one of these breads that you bite and it breaks apart real easily. So there's a little mochi, some tension to the top of it. I guess it's how you could tell it's a good bun. You see, look on the top here. The cheese is just melted to the top of the bread, and that is actually a good thing. It keeps the ketchup, which is not sweet at all, from soaking into the bread. Probably it's kind of smart. McDonald's doesn't do it like that. All right. I don't think that that's all beef though. That's a, yeah, that's pork. That's like maybe a pork beef hybrid. All right, next up we're gonna go to the cheeseburger for Family Mart. The reason why is because they're both cheeseburgers and I don't wanna, the Lawsons is gonna be judged differently. All right away I know that the size is smaller on the burger from Family Mart. You can tell the size difference. The bread feels somewhat similar, but more wet from the microwaving. And I like how the cheese has congealed onto the bottom of it. You can see there's some wrinkling on the bottom. Let's open her up here. Oh, so they don't use the same amount of ketchup. You can see there really is. Oh, there's some mustard in there. I didn't get that with the other one. So the cheese is a little different, but you can see that the cheese is on the bottom and the ketchup soaks into the bread. And I don't know if that's gonna be a good thing or a bad thing. Jonathan writes in here, looks mediocre in looks. it could be. We're gonna try. That's so weird. Just because of the placement of the cheese, we're getting like a different flavor. Both of the bread is quite nice. It doesn't taste like a cheap break apart bread. Jerry writes in here, the audio is coming in one channel. It could be. I don't think it could be, I'm sorry. There's not a lot I can do with it once I start the stream. I'm not gonna spend the next 20 minutes trying to figure it out. I did get a new microphone set. This is the old one. But I don't know, maybe I can, if I touch these buttons together, maybe. I don't know. Sorry about that. Just close one ear. It's a burger review. This isn't like, I don't know. In 10 years, will people be watching this? Probably not. So, (7-Eleven), Family Mart. 7-Eleven's burger is 280 yen with tax. Family Mart's burger is 198 yen with tax. So it's a smaller size, which means you could probably get 2 of them, and it would be more food, but a little bit cheaper. I think you get more carbohydrates, more bread out of it. The patty, the 7-Eleven tastes more pork, and the Family Mart tastes more beef. Now, I don't know if that makes it any better, just makes it different. The ketchup and the sauce on the 7-Eleven is definitely better. The bread is better on the 7-Eleven, a little bit breadier. I think it's worth the extra 80 yen for the 7-Eleven. So the 7-Eleven gets 4 stars, and this one will get 3.5. Both of them are quite interestingly pleasant, and it's not the same as a burger from a real burger place, you know, like a place that specializes in burgers, but it will do the job and will fill you up. And it's a good addition to onigiri. You know, if you're getting tired of eating rice all the time, you just want something. Now you guys got me fidgeting around with the audio. Should be fine. Should be. What I can do is just take the mic out. Aloha, Michael. Welcome. This next burger is off the list in a way, and it's sponsored by Michael here. Thank you, Michael. This is a Lawson's burger. It's cheaper than the 7-Eleven by 10. No, it's more expensive. This is the most expensive one. With tax, it's 289 yen. 303 calories. A little bit up there. But what makes this different is that it is a steak burger. I don't know what exactly that means, but there's only one way to find out. You see, you've got the obligatory wrinkling from the microwave, which is, again, not a bad thing. Let's open her up. Oh, all right. The sauce is there, ketchup. Look at that. It looks like it's got some like lines in there, like it was grilled. I don't know, is that a fake thing that they did, or is that real? It's not charbroiled, is it? So I guess it's called a beef hamburger steak and cheese. So a burger is essentially a steak, so I don't understand, but look at the cheese on there. Wow. Oh yeah. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. It's interesting. The cheese is way better. The beef patty makes a difference. It doesn't taste, and there's nothing wrong with the 7-Eleven one. It just tastes cheaper because of that hybrid pork in there. I'm not sure what exactly the meat is. It just tastes so much better. Oh, the cheese makes a huge difference. The bread is not as good as the 7-Eleven one, but it's not moist. It's still got some mochi chew to it. Yeah. The steak burger wins, but it's not in the cheeseburger category because it doesn't write cheeseburger. The 7-Eleven, better bread, better sauce. Cheese and patty are not as good. And the Family Mart, better meat patty. I like a little bit of that mustard in there. But the bread is not as good as the 7-Eleven. So, Lawson's wins. But they're disqualified because they called it a steak burger and not a cheeseburger. Although it was pretty much a cheeseburger. That would be 4.2 stars for the cheese. It's just a better cheese. It's not the American processed cheese on there. So there you have it, the great Japanese cheeseburger battle. The winner is 7-Eleven for cheeseburger, but overall burger category for September 2023 has to go to Lawson's for the steak and cheeseburger, which is essentially a cheeseburger. I don't understand what the difference is. Marketing? Perhaps. Tomorrow I'm going to be doing a live stream in Asakusa, in Asakusa in the morning, and that's a Skytree right now live. Somebody said a typhoon was coming in, but I'm not sure. Skytree looks really beautiful today. That's Eitaibashi, and this is the point I like to come to eat my lunches, right there. You can see all the boats go by. It's a wonderful place to, if you're in the area, Hachobori, even Tokyo Station, you can walk here in 25 minutes, or take the bus in 8 minutes, and enjoy some peace and quiet. It doesn't really feel like the city here, and that's what I really love about it. But tomorrow I'll be in Asakusa. I want to talk about the 100-year anniversary. I'm going to talk tomorrow about the 100-year anniversary or remembrance of the Great Kanto earthquake, which happened on September 1st, 1923, which was about 3 days ago. And I thought it was remarkable because Leo goes to Hoikuen, which is like a preschool or a kindergarten, not a kindergarten, like a preschool pretty much, or daycare, something between that. That's just Japanese style. And on September 1st, they had this earthquake test, and we had to go to pick up Leo as if an earthquake had happened. We have special cards that identify us as the parents. Leo had this yellow hat on, which looked like a hood, and they're the earthquake safety hats in case something falls on them. I don't think they would do much protection, but it's easier to identify the kids with the hats on, and it does offer some protection. But it's a little funny. They look like little elves running around with these earthquake hats on. So we picked up Leo with his on the 1st, and the entire country, I think it was in the 1960s, designated September 1st to be Earthquake Prevention Day or Disaster Prevention Day. It was a magnitude 7.9 out in the Izu Bay. It was like 60 miles away from Tokyo, the epicenter, which is really close. But what was really strong about that quake was the fact that it jolted up. And when it did that, and it happened at 11:58 a.m., right at lunchtime, a lot of people were eating lunch. That they ate lunch at the same time 100 years ago. No surprise there. A lot of the fires started because the earthquakes happened when the fires were started to cook lunch, or were in the process of making lunch. That created a firestorm. And you know what? It wasn't just the earthquake that destroyed the city. It was. I'm smiling because it's just an awful like a perfect storm. Because the earthquake happened at the same time of a typhoon, and the typhoon blew the fire around, and it created this it was just a awful tragedy as a result of so many things happening at the wrong time. Kamakura got nailed with a tsunami as well as an earthquake and fires. So I mean, that's the worst of them all. And that was 1923. And on the first, some of the shrines in the city, you could see were holding memorials 100 years. There's a couple of people that are still alive that were kids at the time, and NHK shared their experience and what they remembered from the earthquake 100 years ago. Only in Japan would you have super centenarians with sharp minds describing the reality of what happened 100 years ago. Just a shout out, I've just finished the first version of an episode that'll be playing at the end of September I made with the collaboration with Hiroshima, I think it was the city of the prefecture, I'm not sure, but they gave me a lot of help with the transportation there. And I interviewed a 92-year-old woman who was 14 years old at the time of the atomic bomb drop in Hiroshima. She was about 2 kilometers away, and she described in amazing detail her experience. And then 3 days later, the Hiroden, which is the streetcars of Hiroshima, were back online, which is, I want you to think about that. 24, 48, was it 72 hours later, they had the streetcars running. It's crazy. You couldn't even drink the water. Everything was irradiated. People who drank the water ended up getting very sick. They kind of knew that. So she is 92 and she is strong and remembers so much of it because that was her job. She was on the first train that started up 3 days later and was able to tell me her experience in an interview. And you're going to be blown away by the firsthand accounts of somebody who was not just survived a blast just a couple of kilometers away, which in itself is like, she goes back to work 72 hours later and helps people on the train, doesn't take any money from anybody, but goes about her job. And she's now a representative of the streetcar company, of course. How could you have anybody better? So that's coming at the end of the month, and I want to thank the Patreon supporters for making this kind of content possible. Documentary style stuff this summer. I filmed so much, and because I'm working with governments on some of these, I have to give them preview versions in advance, so I keep shifting between the episodes. It's a bloody mess, but I'll get them all out. So there's about 7 episodes that I shot this summer that are all in queue for editing, shifting back and forth as people that help me out ask me for preview copies so that they can make sure that I didn't do something wrong, which is understandable because I don't want to make a mistake. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of time. Sometimes it takes a little bit too much time. So there you have it. I was waiting for Spaceboat to come here, but September was a really great month. We're now into it. Right away, I could tell that the weather changes. The lighting feels different in Tokyo on September 1st. You can feel that autumn is on the way. There's a tinge of summer, but it is absolutely not summer anymore, and you can just tell. It'll still be pretty hot, but it's not the same hot. This is the hottest summer in the history of Tokyo, I read on NHK, which is significant, for better or for worse. My final bite is going to be the steak burger from Lawsons. That's really pleasing. Programming note, I'm probably going to go live tonight, and I've noticed this here. This is inside of 7-Eleven, and they've started to make these pre-packaged bars. Do you see these here? These are like tofu bars and chicken salad. I've been eating those chicken breasts, boiled chicken breasts with some seasoning. Look, there's a tofu bar, a chicken bar. These are all over the convenience stores now, so this is sort of the trend for right now. And I bought a bunch of these. I'm going to try it out tonight to see, what's going on with these convenience store foods. Maybe in a midnight snack. Maybe in a midnight snack. I got one. This is the, is this the Family Mart one? Yeah, Family Mart is very comparable to 7-Eleven. They got these sticks, chikuwa. There's some processed fish. Like, is this stuff any good? It looks healthier. There's a grilled chicken, just a chicken breast, right? And then this is the one. This is the one at the Lawsons. Lawsons is also comparable. Again, look, they look almost exactly the same. They're ready to eat bars of chicken and food. I have one right here. They look quite interesting. They don't need to be refrigerated so much. Probably do. This is the chicken breast stick edamame spinach. This is the food of the future. Edamame spinach chicken breast stick. What? So I'm putting this in the bag. This is gonna get eaten tonight. This is a chicken stick from Family Mart. This is a smoked chicken stick. Might go good with a glass of wine. Yeah. And what did I get here? Oh, and this is from 7-Eleven. This is the tofu bar. What? The tofu bar with soybean and hijiki seaweed, which you can see in there, which is quite good. I think there's like, is that carrot maybe? I'm gonna go and see if they have a chicken stick, and then we're gonna try some chicken breast as well. But like it's supposed to be made with as minimal processing as possible. The soybeans can't come from America, by the way, which I don't know is a plus or minus. So I got some goodies for a midnight snack run. We're gonna try some the trendy foods from 7-Eleven, Family Mart, and Lawsons, and kind of go along with this weird trend that they got going on right now. I don't know. I don't understand why, but I'm actually, because of the diet that I'm on, some of you have asked me, I have been, like, I'm not going to be eating the rest of the burgers, by the way, so I ate half of them. It's just the nature of the beast. I'd rather, stay a little bit healthier. I've been eating mostly meat, a little bit of vegetables, but the diet that I'm on, because I gotten a lot of comments on it, I'm just basically, I cut out sugar. And sugar also included carbohydrates like flour. And if I get rice, I get tsuname, which is just a little bit. And I just eat up more meat, more chicken, more eggs. I try to eat like lower fat stuff. But if you eat lower fat stuff, it makes you hungrier because the fattiness in the meat will make you less hungry longer. Because I also do it with intermittent fasting, which is like, what is it? I eat from like 12 or 1, sometimes 2, and I eat my last meal at 6, and then I don't eat until the next day. It's not that hard in the morning. I do have a morning cup of coffee, a little bit of milk in it, which is maybe a breaking of the diet, but the idea is to make sure I don't overuse insulin and just do this for a little bit of time. It's not something, I guess it's keto, but I'm not gonna do, I don't know. I think there's maybe sometimes where I felt like I was in ketosis, but I think you need to eat a balanced diet. You do need to eat some vegetables, and you do need some vitamins and stuff. So I just don't, anything with added sugar, I try to limit that or nothing at all. And if you can survive for the first 72 to 96 hours, your appetite goes down and you don't need to eat as much. But I still eat like 250 grams of chicken. And I'll eat some, like, I don't know, like avocado or guacamole that I'll make at home. Try to get some vitamins through some vegetables, some spinach that I'll grill up on the side, but mostly meat. And the meat is what keeps you the muscle, because with the intermittent fasting. Yeah, I see stylish bunnies on it too. The intermittent fasting, you'll start to lose muscle mass as well. But I think it's healthy because it's just, the insulin resistance is something that I think I might have had. I wasn't feeling too good, and I wasn't eating very good during the pandemic. I think we were all kind of bummed out, and we compromised in bad ways, and I might have abused the bakery or sweets. And this is trying to get my body back in order. And I have no muscle to lose, writes in Tweedle. Hey, everybody has a little, just a little. And so it's been pretty good. I know Peter was also an inspiration. He's back in Japan. He fasts once a week, where you won't eat for 24 hours. And I think it's something that, your body needs a little bit of rest to process all the stuff, and we forget about that. I'm not a conspiracy theorist person, but I saw some results in about a month. I started to feel better, and I have more energy, and I feel younger, and I feel more spry, and I can keep up with Leo. In fact, I can exceed Leo's power, which says something crazy. Yeah. It's hard to find good meat in Japan that's not Wagyu, though. A lot of everything in the supermarket is Wagyu, but it's hard to find lean beef that's been grass-fed or something like that. But I'm not too picky. Burger will work if that's meat, but the bun I shouldn't have had. Basically, I did it for you. It's true. I don't mind cheese too much, but the bread, that's pure sugar, and the ketchup. 7-Eleven wasn't too sweet, though. And tonight's midnight snack will be breaking it as well, but I did pretty good through the summer, so I think I can pay. This hat did not fit when I had fuller cheeks, but now it looks a lot better. Stupid things like that, I could tell. I'm not jumping in, Michael. I saw that. You don't swim in the Sumida River. You can swim in Tokyo Bay, though, at Odaiba, but I wouldn't recommend it. Even during the Olympics, they said it was too polluted to hold the events there. So the city was panicking, trying to clean up their act 6 months out. I remember that. I'm about to have a midnight snack. Oh, yakisoba is a good snack. That's really high in carbs, though. You can't eliminate carbohydrates completely, but the point of getting them down isn't because they're carbohydrates. It's just because carbohydrates have sugar. So you just break it down to the basics. No sugar, less sugar, nothing with added sugar. Cut down on sugar. We eat too much sugar. Everything has sugar. I'm not a political person, but I will say this. Hiroyuki, is he your friend? You know how many? I know like 10 Hiroyukis, so I'm not sure. I'm gonna say this. Everything seems to have sugar in it. Every product. Even in Japan, I'm starting to see, like, why does yogurt have sugar in it? I don't understand. There's something with a natural flavor that's not sweet that tastes better to me. So I can't understand why sugar is in everything, but I'll tell you, it's addictive as heck, just like coffee. Sugar is a drug, man. I crave it. I broke the diet and I had some chocolate cookies. Oh my God, for like 3 days, I couldn't get it off of my mind, in the back of my mind. I'm working and I'm thinking about cookies. It was such a draw. And then when you break it, you're fine. You know, after 3 or 4 days again, your appetite goes back. But why this is not, you know, in the presidential debates or politicians talking about the food industry and sugar, that would solve all the medical problems. That would solve the need for all the insulin for diabetics. That would solve so much of it. Not everybody, but a great deal of it, just because sugar is in everything. And even in Japan, I've noticed that sugar is starting to get its way into a chicken stick. Why do you need to put sugar into a chicken stick? To make it taste better? I don't think so. I like the taste of chicken. Put salt in there, man. All right. And no one likes the answer. Yeah, I see that. Too much sugar is not good. I'm trying to teach Kanai about it because Leo eats a lot of bread and rice, mostly bread with jam. But, you know, it's hard to get kids to eat anything else. So we make him smoothies with spinach and stuff in there to get vitamins in, but he's really picky right now. So hopefully he watches me eating healthier. He's never eaten chocolate yet. So we'll see how it works out. But yeah, sugar in anything processed. And that's the reason when I go to Costco, it's getting harder. It's not in the debates because it would solve medical problems. Tweet like, probably true. Probably true. I'm American, but I would not consider myself to be any particular party because I would never say publicly. It's not. Yeah. No saturated fat, meats cause diabetes. I'm not sure I believe that. I think it has to do with the body and the pancreas and insulin. I don't know. I know a lot of people that eat mostly meats and don't eat. I know a lot of people with diabetes, and I know that the foods that they eat, and it is not just saturated fats. I think it is that plus carbohydrates. I think that's what the industries good way of spinning this stuff. It doesn't make sense. Eggs do. That doesn't make sense. Eggs plus bread. All right, is what consumers want. Probably. Yeah, it's caused by carbs. So it's the sugar in it because your insulin will spike and you become resistant to it if you're eating so much carbs. I think the food pyramid was made. Somebody said that the food pyramid was made by the industry, and doesn't make sense. I don't know. That's how I was taught in high school. But the diets that they learn here in Japan are different than the ones in the West. So I'd like to get into this and follow the rabbit down the hole with the Japanese school system and eating. And you'll see a main channel episode on this early in 2024 as I go into a school and learn about what they learn about with nutrition and why Japanese are thinner. If that is the case, really, I'm going to figure this out. And I'm going back to the US in December, and we're going to look at some of the data there as well. So it'll be an interesting episode, and yeah, thanks to Patreon for you guys for backing these kinds of documentary style projects. Bigger themes, bigger than me just going and eating street food, although that I got to do some of those too, some easier stuff. Got to do some easier stuff, but I see a lot of you are writing in here comments, and I know that you're passionate about it as well. JKO Adventures, who is a nurse, right? Obesity in the US is 40+%. Yeah. And I was probably near obese. I don't even know what registers as obese, but I felt like I was quite large, like bloated all the time in the beginning of this year, all the way to about March or April. And I started the diet in May, and I felt a lot better. It wasn't just a diet. I exercise, you know, I fast, but changing the way I ate changed the energy level that I had, and my mind is a little bit more sharper as a result. Natural identity, I cut sugar off. Maybe it's something we can all support each other to do. Try just to eat a little bit healthier. You don't have to change everything. Just a little bit healthier, because I think it would make me happier if you guys are around another year or two as a result of maybe just eating a little bit better or just being more mindful. It all starts with that. And I'm the one sending daimyo boxes filled with potato chips and snacks from around Japan. I know I feel somewhat bad about that, but I try to find really good regional stuff. By the way, the daimyo boxes on Patreon are back. So if you'd like to sign up for one, as soon as EMS changes or I can find an alternative way to send them, then I'll lower the price back down to the usual. But they're coming super express in like 4 days sometimes from Japan, because that's the only option from Japan Post. But I appreciate everybody who's supporting on Patreon. That's really nice of you. And I'll keep updating on there starting in September. This summer was insane for me. It was just insane. It was nonstop. And I still got a trip to Kagoshima. And this weekend, by the way, you're all coming with me too. Brandy from Hawaii will be here, as well as Diana from Singapore, Joss and Linda from Mexico or Colombia. Sometimes I get lost sometimes where you guys are at the time. I think from Colombia are here, and several other people will be at this festival that we're going to be taking in the first Only in Japan bus tour. I will live stream some of it for you. So you're going to join me too. So the next time I have a bus tour, you can come along. This is a big learning experience for me. And I'm kind of glad that we don't have 30 people, but I think there's 17 or 20 people now that are in it. So it should be a lot of fun. You're coming with me, because this is Only in Japan Go, and you go with me. Hey, you pigeons, you guys want a burger? I'm not allowed to feed the pigeons. It's actually against the law. I think it's an actual Tokyo law. You can't feed the pigeons. You get fined. I'm not joking about that. That's actual law. I'm gonna look in this now. There's the next episode. Tomorrow's episode, tomorrow morning from Asakusa. If you are in Japan right now, you can find me in Asakusa tomorrow morning. I'm gonna say like maybe 8 o'clock. I'll be there, and 8, 9, I'm not sure, but you'll see the live stream waiting, and I'll be on my way to Asakusa at that time. I'm doing an episode on scallops, an edited video from Hokkaido, and they're arriving tomorrow morning. So as soon as the scallops come by frozen takyu I will make my way to Asakusa. So it could be somewhere between 8 and 10 a.m. the best I can do. So, as we say goodbye, one last thing is to say hello to Skytree, the space boat, which is now finally making its way here. Yeah, no pancakes for me, that's right. Space boat is making its way here. It was raining earlier, so that's one of the reasons why I chose the convenience store theme. You can see the clouds are starting to clear up, but it was raining last night pretty strong and this morning. It looks okay today. You're probably going to see up all the way to Mount Fuji in a couple of hours as this storm clears out. But yeah, it's nice to see our friend Space Boat making its way. Underneath the bridges. See everybody, see you tonight with some stick food as we try some weird convenience store trends. And then tomorrow morning, looking back at 100 years of the great Kanto earthquake that changed the city of Tokyo forever. Including that bridge that you see, which is made out of battleship materials to be earthquake proof. Mata ne!